Okay, Gavin, my 243 can do everything that your 6 Creed can do.
Or can it?
Gavin's here to stir the pot.
Oh, man. Gavin Gee here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm back with Travis Fox. Thank you for joining me, Travis.
Hi, Gavin. Glad to be here.
We are here officially to stir the pot a little bit.
Let's stir away. There's going to be some good comments on this one, I bet.
Yes. Most of you are familiar with 243 Winchester. It's one of the most prolific rifle cartridges out there. 6mm Creedmoor is relatively new. If you shoot in things like PRS matches, you definitely have either heard of it or competed with it. Both of these are really, really great platforms, right?
Very much so.
So why don't we just come together a little bit and talk about, similarities here. What do we have in common? What's our common ground here?
Common ground. Oh, that's what we're always trying to get here.
Okay.
Well, we have the 6mm 243 bullet diameter, right? They're both short action cartridges.
Yep.
They both run the 308 case rim.
Yep.
Case capacity is like within what, a couple grains of one another?
And it really depends on your bullet length and seating depth.
True.
Yep.
My GRT, Gordon's reloading tool, max reloads that I did, recoil was virtually the same. Performance was virtually the same with the same bullet.
You can also torch your barrel pretty quickly with either one. Like
Yes, you
with
can.
6 Creed, down in the 800 round range if you're really picky about your groups. Maybe 1,000, maybe 1,200. Somewhere in there you're going to start to see things loosen up a little bit. And for a really particular PRS shooter, they're going to say, time to rebarrel.
Yeah, they are overbore cartridges. They get a little hot.
Yep. In fact, my 22-250 was my motivation to get into rifle smithing.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be burning up your barrels on a frequent basis, well, what could be better than to be able to rebarrel them yourself?
Yeah. What a good thing to do.
Yeah. So these rifles, Travis's 243 Winchester and my custom 6 Creed. This is the 6 Creed UR. I've done a full series on this rifle, rebarreling it with JGS, specifying custom freebore dimensions and chamber geometry. That was really fun. These are both great rifles, and they're really versatile, but there are some key differences here.
There are.
With the ammunition and with the rifles. So why don't we take a look at our
Sammy specs.
favorite person, Sammy, if that were a person. And when people, it's interesting, my 223 versus 556 video is my most popular video. It's pushing 6 million views now. And what's funny is people jump straight to the cartridge. Oh, they're the same, Well, okay, exterior dimensions, pretty much true, right? Components can vary, but the chamber dimensions are so different,
Very
right?
different.
So when we look at a SAMI diagram, we really want to look at the cartridge specifications and the chamber specifications. But chamber dimensions and specifications will vary widely, not just with custom rifle builders, but also with OEMs. So, we shoot a lot of Bergara rifles. Bergara could put a custom spin on what the freebore is or what the throat angle is. And they might do that for reliability reasons, or they might do that for accuracy reasons.
Yep.
And so the SAMI specification is kind of like the original guidebook for all this stuff.
They are.
But you're going to see different things with different ammo manufacturers and different rifle manufacturers or gunsmiths like myself that are going to build things custom.
Yeah, one of the things I want to have people look at when they look at these SAMI specs, something that I didn't learn for a long time, is you don't just look at the dimensions. Look at some of the little notes that are on the side, because there's some very important aspects here on this 243 versus the 6 Creed that we're going to find in these little notes down on the side here. If you look at the 243 down in the notes, they have the groove, they have little notations there, they'll have the twist there.
Yep.
The 243, important part there. What do they have? They've got 10.
1 in 10. Yep.
1 in 10. So you look over here at the 6 Creed, and they've got 1 in 7.5.
Right.
So that's going to be a very big difference.
About 1955 and about 2017. That's the issued date on this particular, SAMI drawing. 6.5 Creed, 2007, right? About right in there. And then the 6 Creed was essentially a wildcat of that. So here's a fun fact about 6 Creed and also 25 Creed, is if you have a go-no-go gauge, you can use them interchangeably. Or if you have a case gauge from Ellie Wilson, for instance, you can use them with your 22 Creed, your 6 Creed, your 25 Creed, and your 6.5 Creed. Because essentially the neck area is the difference, and it's
Exactly.
been necked down successively when we talk about those Wildcat cartridges.
And then the flip side is the 243, you can run your 308 case gauge in the chamber for your go, no-go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So these charts can be a little bit intimidating. There's a lot of information there. So we have boiled that down.
Yep. Thanks. Gavin took the time to pick out the little things that we feel are important with this comparison. So our 243 6 Creed values, if we look at the shoulder angles, there's a difference there.
Yep,
Okay.
20 versus 30.
20 versus
it's a pretty
30.
big difference.
What is that going to gain you? It's going to gain you a little bit of case capacity. The Creedmoor is probably going to have a little bit less case stretch overall when you're reloading, if you're a reloader. So that can help to reduce that.
Not need to trim as much.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So then we go down to case length. Now the case lengths, there are differences there. Obviously the 243 case is longer than the 6 Creed, just part of the design of that cartridge.
They pushed the shoulder and then, of course, the neck correspondingly backwards to accommodate those long high
Longer.
BC bullets
Right.
without shoving the bullet too far down into the case and retaining 2.8-inch cartridge overall length for 308 platform compatibility. Magazines,
Let's not
actions. Yes.
don't
Sorry, I'm
jump
getting
ahead, don't jump ahead too much because we got a little tidbit we're going to talk about
Yes,
there.
definitely.
So then we got that case capacity, and the 243 has got a couple grains more capacity, right? But
Could get eaten up, right?
we're going back to what we were just talking about. If you're going to run a fast twist 243, and you're going to run those heavier bullets in order to get that same length, like say magazine length, you're going to have to be pushing that bullet down further down into the case. It's going to take up what Gavin was just talking about, that case capacity. It's
Yep.
going to chew up that valuable powder
Yeah.
real estate, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. The free bore diameter is an interesting one to look at. I first picked up on this with the Hornady lineup of cartridges, their recent designs with the 300 PRC. I was looking at 300 Win Mag versus 300 PRC, and I noticed that there was a tighter free bore tolerance on the 300 PRC. And I was thinking that you got this long, slender bullet, there's a long kind of bearing surface moving forward through a tight tolerance, and then it starts to engrave in the rifling. That feels better to me than having, more wobble room, more room for the bullet to get cockeyed, even microscopically, before it gets engraved by the rifling, and then it's locked in. And that, every little bit of precision really helps when you're getting down into that quarter MOA.
The free bore
type gore.
is huge, and the accuracy of the free bore is huge for long range accuracy.
So here we have the 6 Creed has a half of a thousandth over the diameter of the bullet. That's tight. Whereas the 243 has about 3.3 thousandths over the bullet diameter. So that's, 6 times plus the amount of room that the bullet can move a little bit. Also, the SAAMI spec for 243 is 60,000 PSI max pressure, which is pretty common for a lot of the modern cartridges. 6 Creed has 62,000 PSI as its ceiling for pressure. So that gives you just a little bit more leeway. Now, you could also have a rifle, custom rifle 243, really nice barrel, really strong barrel, and you could probably get the equivalent kind of performance. But we like to scope the conversation to factory rifles because that's a limitation for a lot of people.
A lot of you guys are running factory rifles, and I did a little research and came up, here's what Bergara has. Bergara has a 243, and they have a 6 Creed. If we look at the specs here on this, the 243, Bergara is following SAAMI to a T. The 243 is a 1 in 10 twist. The 6 Creedmoor is a 1 and 7.5 twist barrel.
I love the selection of rifles that you found on the Bergara website because this is kind of like very traditional, kind of like stereotypes, if you will.
It is, yeah.
You've got the wood stock, you've got an old-fashioned hunting rifle, and then, for the 243, and then you've got the sort of PRS competition-looking rifle for the 6 Creed. And the interesting thing is they really do kind of flip and flop back and forth. You think of 243 and you think, I'm limited by a 1 in 10 twist. But the Ruger Precision rifle I had looked like the rifle on the bottom, or PRS style rifle, and it had 1 in 7.5 twist. So if you're a hand loader especially, that gives you a lot more flexibility, and it gives you some of that high BC heavy bullet capability that you wouldn't necessarily have with some of the other rifles.
Unfortunately, Ruger does not offer that anymore. They They do have a 1 in 9 twist rifle, which I think I found that was the fastest 243 I could find factory offering. There might be something else.
Yeah,
out there.
Ruger American is available in 243 with 1 in 9
1 in 9.
twist.
Somebody
I
else, you guys
recall
may
seeing that.
comment if you see something different.
Yep.
Let me know.
Yep, definitely. Okay, so all this the whole twist rate discussion relates to this discussion around what kind of bullets can I stabilize. So you might not know this if you don't reload, but when you pick a bullet, you're looking for a twist rate. You're going to need a shorter twist rate. In other words, a distance before there's a full revolution in the rifling to stabilize a heavier bullet. The heavier the bullet gets, hypothetically, the faster that twist rate needs to be, the smaller the number, the smaller the distance for a complete 360-degree rotation of the rifling in the bore. Now, if you get into something like a 22 cal, like if you push the 22-250 to a really fast twist rate, you might actually blow up bullets.
Yep.
So, and then there are other considerations around accuracy and some other things as well. But most modern rifles, we're seeing that trend towards faster twist rates, and the 6 Creed cartridge design is just evidence of that.
Yeah, we've learned that the bullet stability is gain a ton by having a faster twist with these longer bullets.
Yep. So what we did, well, what Travis did, is went to the Berger website. If you click on their product listings for bullets, there's a link down towards the bottom that says use the bullet stability calculator.
Great tool, great tool. You can put all the information in there. You don't have to just use Berger bullets. You can put all the information in for
BC, length,
the length
weight,
of the bullet,
yeah.
the velocity. There's a whole data thing on there. I was able to put in the Hornady bullet in there, the 110 A-tip, and you can see there on the sheet what we ended up coming up with stability-wise.
Let's talk about the scale a little bit. So on the Berger scale, you've got above a 1.5 number, 1.50 or above is comfortable stability. In other words, it's not a concern. If you're between 1.5 and 1.0, you're in that marginally stable region where you may or may not get good performance.
Velocity can change this also.
True. Yeah. So if you have a different load, whatever, wide SD, yeah, that could be bad. Below 1.0 is unstable. So I learned this when I'm early in my reloading career. I was loading some really long, heavy bullets in my 22-250, and they were literally keyholing on the target. You know, like whoosh, going sideways, boom, right through the paper. And then I looked and, oh yeah, look at my twist rate and you know, look at this load. This is just literally not going to work.
Right.
So what we did is we took bullets lighter in this whole range. Now we could go even lighter than this, but it wasn't really very interesting because they're all going to be stable, right? So 95, kind of in that, you know, getting a little bit heavy. 105, right in the middle of the heavy range, and 110 to 115 would be about as high as you're going to get in a 6mm bullet.
Interesting to see that the 1 and 7.5 twist stabilizes them all.
Yes, and the 110 A-tip is comfortably stable by 0.03, so likely to get great results, but just barely, right? Over on the 1 in 10 twist side, if you have a 243 rifle with that twist rate, the 95, 1.14 marginally stable, 105 not stable, 110 really not stable.
Right.
It'd be interesting to compare these, to put up targets and just see kind of what happened with those twist rates, even though I already know. So if you're thinking about what ammo to run in your rifle, or if you're thinking about what bullet to pick for a hand loading scenario or a competition scenario or a hunting scenario, really good idea to check your bullet stability just to make sure that you're going to be comfortable with your choice.
So we did a little bit of research on if you're buying a factory rifle and you're buying factory ammunition, you're not a reloader. We go to Mid-South Shooter Supply, and man, you look at the 243 Winchester, there's a great selection. 55 to 100 grain bullets. There was 25 different choices to pick from there. 6 Creed, there was 16. 16, and it was 90 grains to 115 grains. So the 6 Creed has a smaller amount to pick from and a smaller range in bullet grain. So the 243 has a little bit, a little bit more variability in what you can do, varmint hunting, up to shooting deer. The 6 Creed is more set to the competition shooter and then the hunter.
Yeah, exactly. And what's notable here also is that I consider 6 Creed the little brother of the 6.5 Creed, in that 6.5 Creed is more versatile, it's got better barrel life, and it just kind of won the long-range rifle, competition, if you will.
Yeah.
So if we looked up 6.5 Creed ammo, we'd probably see more than what we see for 243 Winchester in this day and age. But if you have a 6 Creed, you're going to find ammo that's going to work for you.
Yeah, it is available nowadays quite a bit.
But if you're out on your way to your hunting trip and it's like, oh, I forgot, and you stop at,
Walmart.
Cousin Larry's, podunk hole in the wall shop, you're probably going to find the 243, and you might find a little bit of 6 Creed. It's one of those things that you want to think about. So I like using the factory ammo as kind of the baseline, because Hornady in this case has worked out what's a great 243 hunting load, right? Yeah. 90 grain ELDX. What's a good 6 Creed hunting load? 103 ELDX. It's kind of an apples to apples comparison. And if we look at the data, again, Travis put this into the Shooter app, was it?
Shooter app, yep.
Okay. Did some solving from 0 to 1,000 yards, and we've got drop tables here for both. And if we look at the data in graph form, you can see here that 6 Creed definitely has a favorable trajectory.
That's 103 ELDX is going to fly much better than the 90. It's got 13 grains more capacity. It's going to carry better.
Higher BC. Yep.
Now, the other factor I want people to look at here too is the energy transmission there. The 103 and the 6 Creed is going to still carry 2,000 feet per second at what, 600 yards? Is that what it was?
Yeah, we got 600 yards for 2,000 feet per second with the 6 Creed and 450 yards with the 243. And of course, that's because of the bullet. But we chose the bullet because of what you're likely to have with twist rate.
You go back to our ballistic gel test that we did a few weeks ago, and you can look at what happens at 2,000 feet per second. And that's kind of where we're sticking right now.
Yeah, really good performance at 2,000 feet per second.
Absolutely.
We have more bullet types to test. We have more bullet brands to test. But what we saw, and again, we're talking about ELDX here, we even tested ELDX versus the match bullets. That's a really interesting video if you want to go back and check that out. But yeah, the summary here, we've got 250 plus more feet per second at 1,000 yards with the 6 Creed, and we've got about 55 inches less drop. Now, if you have a laser rangefinder, the drop isn't the problem. There will be a little bit more wind susceptibility there. Yeah.
Wind is king.
Wind is king. Okay. So, at the end of the day, there are some differences and there are some similarities. My conclusion is there's more similarities than differences. And if you have a fast twist 243, you probably don't have a lot. And if you hand load, right, for either competition or for hunting, you're not going to really need to go to a 6 Creed, right?
No.
But if you want to compete in PRS, and you're buying a new rifle, why not go for the 6 Creed?
Sure.
Would be a question I would ask.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe it's you're inheriting Grandpa's 243 dies and his reloading equipment. You want to stick with it. Either choice can be made, to work great. Both are great for hunting. It is nice to be able to go up to a heavier bullet, which you could do because you have a fast twist 243.
This is a 1-in-8 twist. I built this up years ago following George Gardner was building some 243 competition guns many, many years ago. And I thought, I want to do that too. So I built this one up. It's a 1-in-8. I could shoot the 105s, 109s in it just very well. But as Gavin says, the 243 is one of the most popular deer hunting rifles in the U.S. And if you have one, shoot it. Love it and shoot it. And there's lots of ammunition. If you're buying a new rifle and you want to have a little bit more versatility and maybe you're thinking about doing some competition, then I would probably lean towards the 6 Creed. Now, is one more better than the other for just overall hunting use? That's debatable.
And I think both of these rifles are great options for competition and for hunting for a good reason. One of the big reasons is recoil.
True.
If you have a new hunter and you want to introduce them to deer hunting, a 243 or a 6 Creed would be great because the recoil is just so manageable. A 30-06 could be intimidating. If you're going to be shooting a lot of 30-06, it gets to be really fatiguing. And on the competition side, recoil has an entirely different context. The context of sight picture acquisition and retention, right? You don't want to be thrown off because you want to watch your trace and you want to watch your signature.
You have a very good point on the 243 and the 6 Creed for hunting with youth. The 243 Winchester, I know there is a ton of youth size rifles out there for that gun. So keep that in mind too.
Totally good stuff. So ultimately, it's up to you. It might depend on what you have. It might depend on what rifles you're looking at. A lot of manufacturers are now offering a factory option for 6 Creed. This was a factory Howa 1500 6 Creed. And so, you know, shoot what you got or buy whatever you prefer. It's really up to you. But here's our question. Which would you choose, 243 Winchester or 6 Creedmoor?
Which ammunition are you shooting? Are you shooting competition? Are you just hunting? Are you reloading? Let us know.
Yeah, drop a comment and we'll start a discussion. This was fun. I think we might have to do more of these.
We had a great time shooting up on the ridge. It was very fun.
Yep. Question number 2 then. What other comparisons between cartridges would you like to see?
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know, guys.
All right.
We're always looking at your feedback. We always want to hear from you.
Yeah, we definitely want to take your feedback into account. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, make your voice heard. If you have something to say, please drop a comment. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications because you're not going to want to miss the awesome content that is coming up. And finally, flex your reloading pride. You could look great in one of these t-shirts. We've got multiple designs at the Ultimate Reloader store. I'll see you later because I'm off to go shooting.